What's up, guys? I'm Christian from CLN Media, and this here is Nala, my cute American Bully puppy that we got yesterday. She's adorable. And I just wanted to give a quick intro to this video. So I am a web design student at BYU, Idaho, and I wanted to make these series of coding in JavaScript and HTML and CSS because I feel like a lot of the people who make the videos are so far advanced that they can't explain it stupid enough for people who've never done anything. I had never done any coding before I started this, and I have a really hard time learning something unless I understand exactly what it is and why it is that way. So this particular one is going to be about the basic HTML you need to start coding in JavaScript, and I'm going to go through every piece of information and explain what it's doing there, why it's there, what a tag is. So I hope this is coding dumbed down enough for you, but I'm going to have a whole series, a bunch of different examples and stuff that you can learn to code along with me. You know, I'm not a master yet, but I'll get there. You guys can come with me. Let's do it.
Alright guys, before we get started, I just wanted to give a little background to web design in general. So there are three coding languages that you have to use and have to know when doing web design. The very first one is HTML, and that one we're going to talk about a little bit later. That's the main focus for today. And HTML, or hypertext markup language, is basically the bare bones of a website. So this is one of my websites called mattreport.com. It's a wrestling and MMA website. So, puts a title, it allows you to put in text, it allows you to put in pictures, all that stuff. Everything here was made with HTML, except it was all ugly and it was all pushed to the left. Next, you come through with CSS. And what CSS does is it makes things pretty. It allows you to, make this picture full screen. It allows you to change colors, change fonts, change different sizes of fonts and different titles. It allows you to put some things on the left and some things like this picture over here on the right. It allows you to have 3 columns if you want. Whatever you want to do organizationally, you can do through CSS. Now the last one, and the one that we're going to be focusing on through this whole series, is JavaScript. Now JavaScript is how you make the website interactive. A good example of that is Facebook. When you have to type in your login and log into your specific Facebook, any calculations like a calculator, all that stuff is done through JavaScript. And we have to have an initial little bit of HTML before we can put in any JavaScript. So that's what this video is going to focus on. It's just that little bit of HTML that you need so you can start learning to code in JavaScript. Alright team, listen up. Before we can do any coding, we have to have a program that can write code. So for me, I always use brackets. It's down here. You can download that from Google. Just type in, brackets code editor. It should be the first one that shows up. You can click to their website, download it. If you need help doing that, I guess you could, look it up on YouTube, but it's pretty simple. So once you get brackets open, the first thing we all got to do is hit File, New, and then we have to come down here to the new file, and we have to save it as an HTML. So you hit right click, Save As, come down here, you name it whatever you want. I'm going to call this one Sample 1, and now this is super important. You have to put .html. That lets the computer know that this is going to be an HTML file. Super important, don't forget that. And I'm going to save that one, and here we go. Alright, so if you think about this, the code editor really does not know what program we're going to be writing in. There are a ton of different languages, so it just doesn't know how to read it. So the first thing we have to code is we have to tell the code editor what language we're going to be using. And there we have to tell it that it's in HTML, and not only HTML, but HTML version 5. So this is the newest version. And how you do that, you do less than symbol, exclamation point, DOCTYPE, or document type, space HTML, and then a greater than symbol. Now this is all in caps, it doesn't have to be, this is just how I learned it, so that's how I'm going to do it. So yeah, this is just saying document type, HTML, with the exclamation point and whatever. This is how you say HTML version 5. Got to communicate that to the program first. Hit enter. The next thing that every single HTML file is going to have is what's called an HTML tag. Now, all tags start with a less than symbol, whatever the tag is. So this one is HTML, and then a closing symbol. This would be the opening tag, and then if you look over here, it automatically put this in. This is almost exactly the same as what this opening tag was, and this is a closing tag. The only difference is this little slash right here. So what this is effectively communicating is, hey, after this, I'm going to start speaking in HTML. And then the closing tag says, okay, I'm done speaking in HTML. So we can put this down here, and everything that we type in between that is going to be HTML. That makes sense, right? You got to tell it what you're speaking and when you're speaking it, because you can actually, even though this is an HTML doc type, you can speak multiple languages within it. You just have to clarify each time you're doing that. So, first thing you have to do, HTML tag. And then there's a separate part of tags that we can add after this HTML but before this greater than symbol, which is called an attribute. So I get it, this is kind of confusing. It's like learning a new language. That's why it's called a programming language. So after the HTML, we're going to do space, and this is called a language attribute. So L-A-N-G, lang. We're not going to write out the whole word language because coders are lazy. We type all day. Why are we going to type when it's unnecessary? We're just going to shorten things if we can. So you hit lang equals, and then you can do single quotes or double quotes. I usually just do single because, again, I don't want to press the shift key. I'm just, saving time, using less keys. Now, what we're going to write between these single quotes is en-us. So this is the language attribute. This whole part is the attribute. This part before the equal sign is called the attribute name, and this part after is the attribute value. Now, this is saying this is the language that we're going to be speaking, not as in the coding language, but our actual language, which is English. And so we put EN-US, which is English US version, or American version. Now, each different country and each different language is going to have their own code here that they put after lang. And the purpose of this really is, a good example is Google. So when you search stuff in Google and you're an American who speaks English, the only results that are going to show up for you in Google are different web pages that have English US in them. Because you don't want, maybe the best search really for what you're looking for is in Chinese, but that's not going to work for you because you don't speak Chinese, unless you do, in which case, that's a different problem. But that's the next part we have to do. So, doc type, HTML, add in the attribute. Now, within the HTML, as in between the opening and closing tags, we have to write a head tag. So it's going to be, again, less than, head, greater than, and then it creates a head closing tag for us as well. Now, this is not going to have an attribute, which is okay. Not all of them do. Now, the head is basically everything that this file is going to communicate to the web browser. Like the web browser as in Firefox or Internet Explorer or Chrome. And now all of these things between the opening head tag and the closing head tag are going to be hidden from the user. Now the first thing within the head tag we have to do is, it's called the meta tag. Less than, META, greater than. Now you notice this one didn't create a meta closing tag. That's because meta is a self-closing tag. There's never going to be anything within the meta tags, therefore it always closes itself out. We are, however, going to be adding an attribute into this, and it's going to be a char set attribute. So, space, char set, or character set, equals, single quotes, and this one is going to be UTF-8. Now, what this is saying is, we're going to use the character set of UTF-8. And what does UTF-8 stand for? I have no idea, but what it means is all of the standard keys on an American English whatever keyboard. So this is the, Q, W, E, R, the 1, 2, 3, 4, the exclamation point at, all of the different symbols that are on the average keyboard is put under UTF-8. That's why we're not going to have any, Chinese symbols. Our keyboard isn't writing in that. We don't have any of the Russian alphabet or whatever. This is just saying the type of keyboard that we're going to be using and the type of keys that it can accept. So that makes sense, doesn't it? We have to put that in there. This is all vital information for the program. It's not a mind reader, so we got to tell it everything. It's like an infant. We got to just let it know everything because it literally knows nothing. Next, we have to put in a title tag. Now, the title tag, I'll have to show you what that actually does, but we'll start with a less than title greater than. And in between that, we can put a title in here for this page. I'm going to call it, yo, dis my title, right? And then it's got the closing tag, and it doesn't have to be on a different line. So this one I'm just going to leave here to kind of show you that I can do that. I can do whatever I want. Now I can show you exactly where this information shows up on a web page. So first we got to save it. File save. Then we'll put this to the side. And then we'll have to bring up this page, sample 1. We'll bring this to this side. There we go. That was more work than it should have been. All of the stuff in the head tag is not going to show up on the web page, but where this one is going to show up between the title tags is right up here. Yeah, so everything, like if you look up like YouTube, right? YouTube would be within their title tags on their page. So the next thing that goes in the head tag is a script tag. Less than script greater than. So the script tag just means I'm going to start speaking in JavaScript. So all of the JavaScript that we're going to be doing throughout this whole series is going to be done right in here, which can be as big or as small as we want. Doesn't really matter. Anyway, so that's the last thing that's going to be in the head tag. Next, we make the body tag. Now, if you look at this, the body is within the HTML box, but it is not within the head box. That's why I have them on the same level, because it just makes it easier for me. And inside the body is everything that is actually going to show up on the web page. So I can go in here, I can put in a paragraph tag if I want, which just means I can write in it. Now, what I can write in here is really whatever I want. I'm going to say, hey, this is my paragraph. Sorry, I'm a very slow typer, which is ironic, being a coder, right? So, file, save, refresh. Hey, this is my paragraph. Anything in the body is going to show up here. And that's really it. That's really all that you need to know to do any JavaScript, right? That's it. Because all the JavaScript is going to happen in here. I hope each of those makes sense. I hope that you can recreate this. What I would do is I would delete all of this, and I would start from the beginning from scratch just to memorize it a little bit, right? Now I would practice recreating this a few times until it's really easy to do, until you understand every piece of it and why you need to put each piece into it. This honestly is going to be super helpful for you guys when you guys get deeper into coding, because having to think through these things logically is really the only way that you're going to be able to understand the deeper concepts. But once you feel like you got this part down, I would just save it. You could save it to your brackets or to another folder, and that'll be super helpful because then you don't have to recreate it every time. So when I'm making a new JavaScript or new HTML or whatever web page, I just come here to I saved it as html.html. This has everything. I could just come in here into the script part and start typing my JavaScript. Hope that helps. Hope you guys have a good one.